What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we're diving into CRST, a company founded in 1955 based out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. This company requires 3 to 6 months of experience to start with the company, and in this video we're calling a driver recruiter, taking a look at some online reviews, and at the end of the video I'll answer the question okay or no way. Would I, Trucker 219, go to work for CRST? And being that this company does require some experience, I'll list who I think this company is best suited for. And all that's coming up, but first we're calling the recruiting department right now. Let's go.
CRST Recruiting, this is Emily speaking. How may I help you?
Hi, Emily. I was calling to see what you guys are offering drivers at this current time. I am at 7 months of experience with Warner, and I'm kind of getting tired of these Dollar Tree routes, and I was looking to see about doing something else.
No, nothing right now unless you're wanting to run team.
I'm seeing online, I see a position out of Birmingham, Alabama. That's not terribly far from me.
What was the position? What did it say?
Is that a company driver? Oh, it is team. It is team truck driving.
Team. Yeah, we have team in Birmingham too, and then I have team in your area. It would keep you out 1 to 2 weeks. The pay is really good on the team, but if you're not wanting to do team, then that doesn't help really.
Well, let me see what you guys are offering for a team. What you guys got going on?
Okay, and you said you had 7 months?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This account also touches freight like Dollar Tree, but it's not similar at all. You're loading the trailer multi-stop. It takes a full week to load the trailer. You're picking up blood plasma from plasma centers. And then once the trailer's filled, you take it to a distribution center so that it can then go to hospitals. The distribution center would be in Cincinnati, Ohio. The account pays for 7 months. You would be at 78 cents per mile plus $30 per stop. You would be averaging around $2,100 to $2,200 per week gross. That pay does raise. So with every year of experience that you gain, you do get a raise. So at year 2, you'd be at 79 cents, year 3, 81, and then year 5, I think it bumps up to 85. So, and the stop pay goes up as well.
Okay, gotcha. And then about how many miles is it averaging per week?
They have a guaranteed minimum miles of 2,250. So you won't make lower than that per person on your mileage. On average, though, it's around 2,400 miles that the drivers are pulling in.
Okay, and now is that 78 cents split per driver, or is that each driver gets 78 for the miles they drive, or all miles? How does that work?
Yep, it's the second one. So, I mean, a different driver could be coming in at a different rate of pay than you if they have more experience or less. So you would be at 78 cents for the miles that you're driving.
Okay, and that's just, how is that logged?
It's logged when you log into the truck with your driver ID.
Okay. So whatever they drive, they get that for 78 cents per mile. Whatever I drive, I get that for 78 cents per mile.
Correct.
Okay.
If you'd like, I can send you an email on this one with like some photos of what the offloading or the unloading looks like, and the plasma boxes, things like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. The only other thing about this account that some drivers don't like is that you actually cannot take the truck home on the account. You do leave the truck in Cincinnati. Operations gets you home every time. So more than likely it would be a rental car, or they could fly you home. I'm not sure. I think the closest airport would be Chattanooga, but whatever would be best for you, you'd work that out with operations.
And how often is home time?
So this one, the zone that you're in, it's 1 to 2 weeks out. So usually about a week and a half you're out, sometimes 2 weeks. So anywhere between 7 and 14 days out, and then you'd be home for 2 days.
Do your guys' trucks have cameras on them?
They do, inward and outward. The inward and outward trigger if the truck feels an unsafe motion, and it records the last 15 seconds.
Okay. What are your guys' trucks governed at?
It would be 68 and 70 at the pedal.
Okay. Do you guys offer any benefits, 401k, health, vision, dental, anything like that?
Yep, all of those. I can send you all that information on the email as well. It would be Blue Cross Blue Shield. We have vision, dental, health, 401k. I can send you the packet so you can kind of see if it works for you.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, I'm not completely opposed to relocating prior to employment. Do you have any information about any of or like what would be maybe the closest solo option for me?
Yes. And I will say if you're looking for more home time, we can actually, this account, I know it's team, but if you relocate to Cincinnati, they actually assist with relocation, and it would be a home weekly account. I would have to get to the specifics, but I think it's like $4,000 or something like that they would pay in assistance. So this particular account does have a relocation package attached to it if you want that. However, if you're just looking for solo, unfortunately, the closest solo to you would be Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, and I think you just said that you're trying to get away from that. But we do have those accounts in Arkansas, up through Wisconsin, over through the Dakotas, down through Kansas. We can hire you for that. It'd be out for a week. Same thing with let's see where the Dollar Tree is.
So that's
the Dollar Tree,
a week
solo.
A week out and a weekend home?
Correct, yeah, 34-hour reset at home for Family Dollar and Dollar Tree. And it would be Dollar Tree, we can hire you in Ohio, the upper part of West Virginia and Pittsburgh area, and then Detroit as well.
Okay.
So,
and
then I have another home weekly in Indiana.
Okay, I actually have some family that lives in Indiana. What's the scoop with that one?
That one is 90 cents a mile. It's hauling out of Joliet, Dollar Tree, and again, it would be home weekly. I believe it's also $30 per stop. Let me double check. Yep, 90 cents a mile, $30 per stop, 7 cents per carton. There's a minimum guarantee of $1,700 a week for your first 8 weeks. After 8 weeks, there's a minimum guarantee pay of $1,600 per week, as long as you're available to work. They are also running a $10,000 sign-on bonus on that account. That's paid out $500 on your second check, and then $500 every 30 days until you're paid out. So it's basically like a year and a half of an additional $500 a month on that one.
Okay, you hit me with a lot of information. Sorry, I'm just trying to write everything down. So the $10,000 sign-on bonus is $500 every month until it's paid out. What did you say it started at?
Your second paycheck. And I can email all of this to you as well if you don't want to write it.
That'd be great as well. As far as orientation, obviously the team one would be different than if I were to relocate. Where do you guys generally hold the orientation at?
So generally, we hold the orientation from your house. It's virtual, so you don't need to travel for it. However, if you were interested in that particular team position, there is some additional training that goes on with it. So you would come to Louisville, Kentucky for orientation for that particular account. The Family Dollar, Dollar Trees, all of those other accounts, and even our other team accounts, we can hire you from home. So it would be a virtual orientation at your house.
Okay. So that I take it there's no pay on going through that. How much time does it take generally?
There is. It's a flat rate of $180 for the day, and it's just a day orientation.
Okay. 30 cents stop pay. Is there any, do you guys offer any bonuses or anything like that for the solo run or the team?
Like safety bonuses?
Yeah, things like
that. Is that what you're... I believe we do for the team account. I don't think the Joliet one does. I'll double check for you. I believe it's just stop pay, carton pay, and your mileage, and then the sign-on bonus. Okay, awesome. I will send you the information there, and then I'm pulling up the pay real quick again. Double check if there's any safety. I think McKesson, the other one, has a 2-cent per mile safety bonus, but I'm going to double check on that one as well for you. Make sure that's still on there.
Okay, and then the Dollar Tree routes, are those about the same average miles per week that you were talking about, the 2,250 or 2,400 average for the team?
No, it's going to be a lot lower on the mileage for Dollar Tree just because there's so much offloading. I'll pull up the exact mileage for you. A lot of the pay on that one is, and you're getting the CPM and then the stop pay and then the carton unload pay.
Right.
Oh, and then Joliet has the $50 backhaul pay as well. Let me pull in I'm pulling it up real quick to see if there's anything additional. Only about 900 miles per week on that account. So it is a lot of touch freight involved. Average pay per week is between $1,900 to $2,000 a week on that account. So it's you're getting most of the pay from the stop pay and the carton unload pay, but you do get the 90 cents per mile as well, and then the guaranteed minimum. So you won't make less than $1,600 a week, but on average it's between $1,900 to $2,000. And I'm not seeing any safety pay on that account or any additional like bonuses or anything like that.
Okay.
And then for McKesson, the blood plasma, let me check and see if there's any additional pay. They have the stop pay. There's layover pay on that one, $100 a day if there's any delays. And it looks like there's not a safety pay on that one at this time.
Okay. Well, I'd much rather honestly get the pay right out the gate on either piecework or cents per mile instead of having these fluffy bonuses that people like to offer. So I'm not mad at that at all.
Okay, perfect. Did you want me to email you both of these accounts, or were you more interested in one or the other?
Yeah, I'd like to see the information on both and weigh out my options here, whether it's worth it to relocate or not. I just don't know. I know going in with a trainer.
We can hire you. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No worries. Just going in with a trainer and having to do that at the beginning of my career here was kind of a pain in the butt. So I'm a little hesitant to do team driving because of that. So I'd just like to weigh out my options.
I understand. And we can hire you for the Joliet account. It's just you're out of zone, so it's 4 weeks out. They would keep you instead of home weekly. So you can still get hired for the solo in Cleveland. You would just be out kind of a long time. You do get a full 7 days off, though. So you get 4 weeks out and then 7 days home. If you're okay staying out, that might be something that would work for you. But it's not for everyone. But if you wanted to do that, if you like that account better, that is an option we could present for you.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I'm just browsing around, seeing what other things are out there to check out after I got some experience now. So I'll take a look over these options. I'm calling around a bunch of different places to see what people are offering, see where I might want to go. So I'll be in touch with you guys if I decide to go with you.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, sir. I'll get this both emailed over to you right now. If you have any questions about it, just feel free to give me a call back.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, so I just got off the phone with a recruiter for CRST, and boy, oh boy, do they have a lot of stuff going on. Starting out the conversation, they were only going to be able to offer me a team position based off of my location here in Tennessee. So if team driving is something that you're interested in, they're definitely willing to pull out the stops to make sure that you can get on this route. Based off of what the recruiter was saying, this route is to pick up and deliver plasma from donation locations to a distribution center to be distributed to hospitals. The customer on this account route is McKeeson. That said, the team drivers are making 78 cents per mile, and each individual driver is averaging 2,400 miles for the week. But CRST said that there's a minimum mileage of 2,250 miles per week. So even if you happen to get less than that amount of miles, they're still going to pay you for that amount. Now, because this is a team operation, I was curious how the miles are split up. And according to the recruiter, what you do is what you make. Some companies will put all of the truck miles together. Even if you don't work as much, you have to split those miles evenly. But for CRST, when you start driving, it starts logging your miles and you're actually paid for the work that you do. So even if your teammate isn't pulling their weight, you're still going to get paid for what you do. This route is 1 to 2 weeks out for 2 days home. The recruiter did mention that it is a multi-stop pickup and it takes about a week to pick up from all the different locations required. That said, they are paying an extra $30 per stop. And they also mentioned a $100 layover fee if for any reason you are available for work and they don't have the work for you. And the big downside that the recruiter wanted to make sure she mentioned on this team route is they do not allow drivers to take the truck home. So unless you're living in the Cincinnati area, they would make sure you either have a flight or a rental car every 1 to 2 weeks to get home for your home time. And of course, if you're taking home time, you got to come back to work. So they will probably get you a flight or a rental car back to work. She did mention that all their trucks have inward and outward facing cameras, and their trucks are governed at 68 to 70 miles per hour, depending on whether you're using cruise control or the pedal. So as not to get confused, let's go ahead and flip over to the calculator and run the numbers on the team position. After that, we'll discuss the solo driving position and run the numbers on that. Alright, she said on average the drivers are doing 2,400 miles per week, but their weekly minimum is 2,250 miles. So for figuring sake, let's take that weekly minimum so we know what's the lowest it can possibly go. We'll do 2,250 miles per week multiplied by 78 cents per mile, and that brings you $1,755 on your week pre-tax. Now let's just say you get the average of 2,400 miles, multiply that one by 78 cents per mile. You're at $1,872 on your week pre-tax. Now mind you, she did say that the stop pay is an extra $30 per stop. Now this is probably a low estimate given the fact that this is a team operation, but let's just say the truck makes 1 stop per day. So in 1 week we'll take 7 days and multiply that by $30 per stop. That's an extra $210 on your paycheck if you make only 1 stop per day for the entire week. So on the weekly minimum miles, let's go ahead and add that number to the total pre-tax of $1,755. So we have the stop pay and the mileage pay put together, and that brings you up to $1,965. Again, these numbers could be higher based on how many stops you make and how many miles you do, but I'd rather folks go into a job expecting the minimum and be pleasantly surprised when it's more. So we'll take that number and multiply that by 80%. If you take 20% out for taxes, you'd be left with the other 80%. So after taxes, your paycheck would be $1,572. Finally, one other perk to doing this team route is if you wanted to relocate to Cincinnati, Ohio, they are offering relocation assistance of up to $4,000. And finally, for this team position, they did say that there would be additional training required, and I'm sure that's just to be able to handle biologics. And that training would take place in Louisville, Kentucky. Outside of that, all the other positions have a 1-day virtual orientation paid at $180 for the day. Moving on to the solo offering from CRST, they said that they have positions all over the place to do the dollar store routes, but the one I was inquiring about was out of Joliet, Illinois. That said, this position is paying 90 cents per mile with an average of 900 miles per week. They have a weekly minimum of $1,600, but she said the drivers are averaging between $19 and $2,000 per week. Like the team position, this also offers $30 per stop. In addition to that, because these are driver unloads, they're offering 7 cents per carton to unload the truck. And a quick Google search says that there's 1 to 3,000 cartons per trailer. If you're in the correct location, this position is a 1 week out and a 34-hour reset back at home. Towards the end of the call, they did mention that they would be willing to hire me even though I'm not in that location, but I would be required to stay out for 4 weeks and then home for 7 days. And regardless of whether you go team or solo, the trucks are still the same, so they're still governed and have cameras. So let's flip over to the calculator and see how this solo route pans out pay-wise. Barring the fact that they have a $1,600 weekly minimum pay, the average weekly miles are 900 miles per week, and multiplied by 90 cents per mile. Just based off of that mileage pay alone, you're looking at $810 for the week just on the miles. And again, for this route as well, we're going to go ahead and assume that there is 1 stop per day. So again, 1 stop per day at $30, you're looking at an additional $210. So far, that brings the weekly total pay to $1,020 for the week, but we still haven't even factored in the carton pay. She said that it was 7 cents per carton, so if there's between 1 and 3,000 cartons on a trailer, we'll take the median number at 2,000 pieces. 2,000 cartons multiplied by 7 cents per carton, That's an additional $140. And again, all these numbers could be more or they could be less. So if we add all the conservative numbers up, you're looking at $1,160. So based off of those numbers, it's a good thing they have a weekly guarantee of $1,600. So taking that number and multiplying it by 80% is what you would get after taxes. You're looking at $1,280 on your paycheck after taxes. This number could be higher or lower depending on how much you're taxed. According to the recruiter, no matter which position you choose, they are offering a $10,000 sign-on bonus. This begins with $500 on your second paycheck, and you'll receive an additional $500 a month on your paychecks after that until that $10,000 is depleted. And that would take 20 months to pay out fully. So effectively, for your first 2 years at CRST, you'd be getting an additional $500 a month. As you heard from the recruiter, she plans on sending me some more information via email, and any information I receive about a company, I'll make sure to post on the Discord server underneath that specific company. All that in the books. Let's go ahead and check out their website and see what they're saying over there. Alright, so we're over here on their main website, and their main website looks like it's set up for companies that are looking to haul freight with CRST, not so much specifically for drivers. So we're going to scroll up here and click on the company driving jobs just to see what they're all about. And over here on this main page, it looks like pretty much any other search engine for a truck driving job for a specific company. And just scrolling down, it lists a bunch of different jobs from West Virginia, South Carolina, Maryland, a couple over here in California, Arizona, Wisconsin. And it looks like these are different jobs as well, from dedicated, solo, local jobs, regional. They're looking for a yard driver here over in California, a couple of over-the-road positions here, and then flatbed local. You got solo truck drivers and team drivers as well. So it looks like CRST has a bunch of different options depending on what you want to do. So being that I'm only about 4 hours away from Birmingham, Alabama, I'm going to check this one out. And it's also a team truck driver position, so I'm curious how that relates to the one that she was talking about in the recruiter phone call. Now this one's showing a Class A team truck driver, dedicated run, out 3 to 4 weeks at a time, dedicated to one customer. The pay range is 47 cents per mile to 99 cents per mile, and the teams are averaging a weekly 4,000 plus miles to the truck. They're claiming that it's between $63,000 and $102,000 a year. They have weekly payroll, automatic transmission trucks. Drivers can take their trucks home, but this means that this is not the same position that she was talking about on the phone. Pre-pass included, drop and hook, no touch freight. Benefits include medical, vision, and dental, and this would be a full-time position, and it lists all their different benefits. And it looks like it's a starter position with this experience level being 0 to 3 months. But over here, I select recent grad, put in an Atlanta zip code. We got 200-mile radius right now, and it's not bringing up anything. So let's bump this up to a 500-mile radius. Still nothing there, so let's go ahead and jump that up to a 1,000-mile radius. Nothing. And let's just go for 5,000 miles, and that covers the entire United States, and it doesn't show that they have any openings for recent grads. Now what happens if we switch this to student? Okay, when I select student on a 5,000-mile radius, the only one that's coming up is out of New York, New York. That being said, when I click on the opportunity, the schedule is just showing full-time and there's no other details associated with that. So one of two options could be happening with this. Either A, they haven't updated their website to reflect the fact that they're no longer hiring students or recent grads, or B, there is really very few opportunities to work with CR England with no experience. That being said, for drivers with experience, it looks like there are a ton of opportunities. We're talking dry van, reefer, flatbed, specialized, local, regional, over the road, and they even have the dreaded lease purchase. Now by now you guys should know my opinion on lease purchase, but if you're new to the channel, just don't do it. It very rarely works out in the driver's favor. And if you want more details on that, I'll leave a card up above so you can see my full explanation on that. That being said, based off of the website, it looks like each position has its own benefits and quirks to it. So if you're curious about a specific position in your area, get on their website and check it out. But we're going to move on to some reviews on Indeed to see what other drivers have had to say about working for CRST. And as we open up Indeed, we're looking at a 2.9 star review based off of 1,873 reviews. And again, this is one of the rare occasions where we see that the 1 stars have outpaced everything. But as always, we have the reviews sorted to newest so we can get the most up-to-date information about the company. And this first review is a featured review, meaning that CRST has selected this review specifically to represent their company. And while this one isn't the most up to date, it's still relatively recent. And this is coming from a Class A driver out of Riverside, California, and it's a 5-star review that says great place to work. The review says, I love my job, my supervisor was great, always had my back. The more I produced, the more I worked if I wanted to. It was completely up to me, as long as I produced. Reason being is you're gonna get all the overtime, you better have something to show for it. Now I'm not sure if this was a local position or an over-the-road position, but being that they mention overtime, I'm definitely led to believe that this is more of a local hourly position. The next one in the list is a 1-star from August 8th of 2026, the worst trucking company I've ever drove for. And this one's coming from an over-the-road truck driver. The body of the review says little to no support. They will find every possible way to screw you over and pass the buck. No accountability at all and no respect for their drivers. Now this is a pretty rough review and very recent as well. It says the pros are none. Moving on to the next one from August 7th of 2026, it says steady work. Doing relay work not bad. You are exposed to the elements. Loads come down from FDC Detroit to make residential and commercial deliveries. Pay is daily and make extra working Saturday, which is not entirely optional. Solid daily local gig. Must learn how to operate a Moffett. Training on that is pretty good. Overall, not a bad company or account to be on. Okay, so this one must be from a local flatbed opportunity where you have to drive one of those piggyback trucks with a forklift that's on the back, known as a Moffett. And it sounds like this driver is making commercial and residential deliveries. But overall, pretty happy with working for the company. This next one here is a 1-star from July, and it says do not recommend. And it says management is not good. Pile work on, but will continue compensate for additional task. Upper management only points out the negative, rarely highlights the positive. This next one is a 3-star, and it says if you can actually drive, the miles are there. May have a delay here or there, but consistent miles if you want to work. Dispatch is good and will work with you. This next 3-star review says mid. You won't even be able to gasp for air. There is always someone listening and calling you to criticize you even though you got the message across. The interpreting will never be good enough, and really their pay is not good enough for the level of service. This next one here is a 1-star review from a Class A driver out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and it says I would give this company a 0 if I could. I don't understand how this company is still in business. If you want to be stressed on a daily basis, come to CRST. If not, stay away. The pros are none and the cons are too much to list. And just as a side note, this is one of the first companies that I've seen that the company is responding to most of these reviews. However, that being said, it seems to be the same exact response every time. We appreciate your feedback. Our drivers are our greatest asset and would like to understand how we could improve your experience. If you ever have additional feedback, please reach out to us. And this is the same response across multiple low-star reviews. This next one is a 1-star and it says run, and this is coming from a truck driver out of California. With this company, it's no room for growth. So if you're looking for a career job, keep looking. They don't give yearly raises. Your pay coming in is your pay. The pros are none and the cons are no raises. And again, we have another response from the company that's exactly the same. Now, being that they do lease purchase, I do want to check out this review here, and it's from a lease owner operator. And it's a 1-star review that says they make their money through you, not freight. They will sell you a dream. They don't mind low-paying freight because while you make nothing, they will make sure to be getting paid every week without fail at your expense. Truck payments, hidden deductions, etc. They never give you transparent pay on their loads either. You may make good money one week, then chase the same type of money for a year while you're still making nothing, all while they get paid. And this is an unfortunate situation and a lot of times a trap that a lot of people fall into. And this review right here is one of the main reasons why I suggest people stay away from lease purchase. And again, we have the same response from the company down here. This next one is a 3-star and the body of the review says great work environment with supportive management, fair pay, and opportunities to grow while building valuable skills daily. Excellent team culture. So I'm not sure why this is a 3-star review and not a 5-star review because the body seems pretty positive. Now, being that this is a positive review, the response from the company is a little bit different. Your experience is important to us, so we appreciate your review. If you ever have additional feedback, please reach out to us. So it's effectively the same thing as the negative reviews, just a little bit different. But rapid fire scrolling through here, let's take a look at these stars and the headline title. This 1-star review says terrible. Another 1-star review says don't work at CRST. A 4-star review says says it's an okay place to work, a 1-star review saying poor management, 2-star review saying 1-star review saying low mileage given, and a 4-star review saying good job, nothing crazy. So based off of these reviews, it's not looking very pretty at CRST. The main complaints that are repetitive is number 1, management, number 2, overburdening employees with too much work that they are not able to accomplish, and finally, limited support for drivers. Now this is the part of the video where I generally find a video review talking about CRST. That being said, there's not a whole lot out there, and specifically not a whole lot out there that's for company drivers. There's tons of people making reviews about lease purchase, but being that I don't recommend doing that on this channel, I don't want to give that a whole lot of extra attention. But there's plenty of videos right here on YouTube talking about people's experience in the lease purchase program at CRST, so if you're interested in that, go check out some other channels. But I did find this very short review from a gentleman who's actually been featured on this channel before, and he goes by Squirrel Man, and the YouTube channel is The Greasy Trucker. As always, I'll leave a link for that full video in the description below.
What up? Squirrel Man's back again. I told y'all I was gonna make a review video about CRST and why I left, and this is my video on that. I'm gonna try to keep a long story short. The last few months that we were there, we found out that there was new ownership or something like that. There was new higher ups. They replaced some people or whatever. I think one guy left and another guy took over or something like that. So once that happened, they started firing a whole bunch of people, and not really the drivers. It was the people that were working in the actual shops and whatever, like driver managers and safety guys and all sorts of shit. They just started laying people off like crazy, and it didn't make any fucking sense to us, man. It was because there were people that got laid off that were really good people, and we couldn't make heads or tails of it. It didn't make any sense to us, right? Our driver manager got fired, and we were pissed about that because when we came back, because we worked there for a year, then we left, and then we came back, and that was one of our big stipulations. We were we're not coming back unless this person is our driver manager, because we liked her a lot. She was really cool. And then they fired her on our Christmas vacation, and no one ever said anything to us. We just come back and they're like, oh yeah, she's gone. We were fucking pissed about that, right?
Now there's something to be said in a company about shaking things up for the positive. Sometimes new leadership comes in and gets rid of a bunch of bad apples, and this could be a very positive change for the company overall. But it sounds like from what this gentleman is saying, a lot of the good individuals ended up getting the can.
So, and then it all went downhill from there. Because we had certain agreements, certain things, certain understandings that we were used to, and then they just acted like they didn't know anything of what we were talking about. We don't know what you're talking about, right? So it's for one big example, when we first started there, your mandatory is supposed to be out for 3 weeks, and then you get 5 days off. So you stay out for 21 days, and then they give you 5 days off. Well, then they tried to act like they didn't know anything about that, right? And then they said, okay, well, for every week you stay out, you get a day. So if I stay out for 3 weeks, I get 3 days. I was like, fuck you. Hell no, I'm not doing that. Because most of the time, we wouldn't stay out for 3 weeks. We'd stay out for 3.5, 4 weeks most of the time. And then they give us 7 to 10 days off, and that was cool, right? Because we get a nice vacation, right? And I think that's most of the reason why I stayed in that job as long as I did, because I would stay out for 3 or 4 weeks, and then I get that 10 days off, and that made me feel good to have that nice little vacation, But then it just started going downhill from there, man. Their expectations became so unrealistic for the driver, man. And at that point, we were already planning on leaving. And I'm like, all you guys are doing is throwing fucking gas on the fire. That's all you're doing. And I'm like, I don't know how you guys expect to get any drivers acting the way you do, right? They didn't want to give us any raise. They didn't want to give us a raise. They didn't give us no incentive to want to stay in that truck. Not one. They were actually taking away incentives to want to stay in the truck. And that's the funniest shit ever. It's you not only are you not giving me incentives, you're giving me reasons to want to leave. You're just making it worse, right? Which is the worst negotiation tactics I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it's so fucking ridiculous, dude. But that was a big part of why we left. Not just all the obvious things, the health and sleeping in the truck and all that shit. So if you worked for CRST a couple years ago, I'm just warning you right now, it's not the same as it used to be. It's not the same. A lot of people left. A lot of people got fired, which is ridiculous. I think when they got that new management, that just fucked everything up, right? It just fucked everything up.
Yeah, that's definitely unfortunate, especially drivers that came in with a certain expectation, and then out of nowhere, after coming back from home time, to find out that all those expectations and understandings were pulled right out from underneath of you.
The reason why me and Biscuit split up I don't know if I talked about this in the video, but he kind of like got sick. I'm not going to go into details, but he kind of got sick and something happened, you know, and he jumped out of the truck on me in Ohio and said he was coming back, never came back. I knew he wasn't going to come back. When he got out of the truck, I knew he wasn't coming back. But then I tried to hang out for like a week because we were supposed to stay in that truck an extra month, right? Our last day was supposed to be like April 15th. I got out like a month early. So we were supposed to stay out for like 2 months, and then we were just going to be done. We were already planning that was going to be our last tour, you know? So it just got cut like a month short, right? So that's basically in a nutshell what happened. But anyway, after he jumped out the truck, they tried to pair me up with somebody else, and I was like, fuck no, man. And I'm telling you, if you're doing teams, it's so hard to trust somebody driving while you're back there trying to sleep. You know, your worst fear as a driver, as a team driver, is that you get woken up into an accident and get killed. Or you don't wake up at all. You know, you're just fucking dead. That's like your worst fear. So when Biscuit jumped out the truck on me, I was like, I can't trust anybody else, man, because I can say whatever I want about Biscuit. Yeah, there's a lot of things he did to aggravate me, but he was my fucking homeboy. I knew I could trust him to drive, and I wasn't gonna fucking die, you know? So it's like, that was definitely where I stood on that, right? It's like, say what you want about whoever, if they can keep you alive, then they're worth keeping around, right? So that's a huge thing you need to think about when you're thinking about going into teams. Just because you get along with somebody doesn't mean you really want to drive with them, because that motherfucker, you don't know what he's going to be like long term. You know, you don't know if they're built for it. It's hard to find two people that can mesh for a long period of time, live together, put up with each other's shit, and be able to drive safely. It's a hard combination to put together.
Yeah, he's definitely spot on when it comes to being a team driver. You absolutely have to trust your co-driver. And especially your first month or two in the truck with somebody else driving, it is very, very difficult to get some good sleep, because every single twist and turn, you're freaking out that the truck's gonna roll over. So it takes some time to build trust with the person you're driving with, because ultimately, while you're in the back asleep, your life is in their hands. But based off of this video review, it's lining up directly with what the Indeed reviews were saying. And effectively, there were some changes. Now everything is just terrible over there. So now to answer the question, okay or no way, would I, Trucker 219, go to work for CRST? And I gotta be honest with you guys, after the recruiter phone call, I was super positive about this company. They were offering weekly minimums for both team and solo drivers, and the pay overall was pretty good. They were offering decent home time, whether home every week or home every couple of weeks. But I gotta say, the straw that broke the camel's back on this one was definitely the reviews, because my answer to the okay or no way is no way. And the big reason being is when I'm seeing reviews about poor management, lack of support from dispatch and office personnel, and seeing that the company's willing to make changes out of nowhere that negatively impacts drivers, I wouldn't want to be subject to coming home after some home time and finding out everything is different without any prior knowledge. And regarding reviews, I always suggest that drivers take a look at the big picture. Don't just take one bad review and run with it and make your decision off of that. Take a look at the big picture. If there's multiple reviews stating the same exact problems, that means that the review isn't coming from a driver that just got pissed off and walked out. It means that this is really a big problem that's going on in the company, because multiple people are reporting on it. So being that this job does require some experience, who would this company best suit? And based off of everything that I could see, this would be best suited for somebody who's just chasing a paycheck. Somebody who doesn't mind being pushed to their limit in order to make a bigger paycheck. Also, this could be a good company for somebody who's reliant on the income. With weekly minimum offerings, either mileage or pay, this would definitely ensure that you're going to be making a paycheck so long as you're available for work. Specifically on the team route I had talked about with the driver recruiter, they were willing to offer $4,000 in relocation assistance. And all in all, it looks like CRST does offer a lot of opportunities for different types of driving, whether you want team or solo, or if you want to try your hand at flatbed or specialized freight. But just keep in mind the issues with management and driver support if you decide to move forward with CRST, because while it's a no way for me, it could very well be an okay for you. But I want to hear from you guys. If you've gone to work for CRST, leave your experience in the comment section below. And based off of this review, is it an okay or no way for you? If you're just getting started in the trucking industry, I have a playlist called Okay or No Way, No Experience. And this is a great resource for folks that are looking to get into the industry. That being said, if you want to check out more companies that do require experience, click the playlist right here. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and share with your friends. All right? Bye.